Hey guys, welcome back for another Captain Foley movie review. Today we are looking at Star Wars The Force Awakens. Now, I wanted this in 3D, but apparently the 3D one is coming out in the fall. I couldn't wait to get it. Had to grab this one. I will be buying the 3D when it comes out. And there's the case. And slipcover. So, let's get into the movie. I'm not a huge fan of the main menu, first of all, but anyway, let's start it out and go to a galaxy far, far away, shall we? And I want to start out by saying I absolutely love this movie. I think it's great. It does borrow a lot from New Hope. It is kind of a remake. I understand why people are kind of upset with JJ about that. But at the same time, he wanted to get us back into the feeling of Star Wars is what we're familiar with again. Because we departed so much from it with the prequels, which is George Lucas' style. Every movie is supposed to be different and have its own feel. JJ wanted us to be assured that Star Wars was back. So I kind of understand his approach in this. Not a perfect movie, it does have its flaws of course, but overall I really enjoyed it. Saw it 3 times in theaters. Been waiting for the Blu-ray here, so... And this first shot is very interesting. To see the Star Destroyer come in, I just remember watching this on the big screen. I was transfixed. Each time, I absolutely loved it. New Stormtrooper armor is awesome. Got my Stormtrooper shirt on. I got my little Captain Phasma here. Although it does kind of look like a duck face, which once you see, you can never unsee. But to see the new armor is really incredible. The new X-Wings I'm not a huge fan of, to be honest. I love the paint scheme, color scheme on the one Poe has later, the black with the orange. It's awesome, but I prefer the older, rounder intakes of the original X-Wing to these that are semicircles when they're separated. Not a huge fan of that, gotta say. I gotta say, I didn't know what to expect with Kylo Ren. This first scene, it's like, okay, let's see what he's all about. He doesn't seem as imposing as Darth Vader at all. And one really cool scene is coming up, which I absolutely love and made me go, oh my god, this guy's going to be incredible. And you all know what it is. Don't pretend that you don't. This scene where he freezes a laser bolt with the Force was incredible. My jaw dropped the first time I saw it. We had never seen that kind of Force power before. I thought this guy, and that scene is so cool in 3D. I thought this guy is phenomenal. He's so much more menacing than Vader. But later we find out that probably not so much. Although I don't know if his Force power is stronger than Vader's. Because like I said, we've never seen. Well, we did see Darth Vader stop laser blast from Han Solo on Cloud City in Empire Strikes Back, but to actually freeze one in midair like that and hold it even after you leave, and then that's incredible. Like there, he starts walking away, and then the laser bolt. That's incredible. I absolutely love that. And BB-8, I went into the movie not really wanting to like BB-8 because I'm a huge R2-D2 fan. I'm an R2-D2 fanboy, I guess. And but BB-8's really cute. I actually really like him. He's become one of my favorites now. He'll never outdo R2-D2, mind you, but he's alright. And Finn's number is FN2187. That's a little Easter egg because it goes back to Leia's cell number in Star Wars A New Hope. Also, Rey's little goggles here are actually old Stormtrooper helmet lenses. Exact same shape. She must have scavenged them from a Stormtrooper helmet. Just a little interesting fact. the scene where Rey's scrubbing away at the parts was actually the very first scene they ever filmed. And she said her arm was so sore by the end of it because they had to redo it a few times. She didn't think she did a good job the first day. And that's Simon Pegg in that costume. He's, of course, Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Walking Dead and Scotty from the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. Now there's a little homemade Rebel fighter pilot. That thing that she's using to scratch on the wall looks a lot like the dart that was used in... that bread's really cool, by the way. The dart that was used in the Phantom... Not the Phantom Menace. The second movie, the prequel. I can't even remember the name of it right now. Oh my god. Star Wars Attack of the Clones, of course. Looks like the Camino dart, almost, that was used. There's an old abandoned AT-AT that she's living in.
Your antenna's bent.
So there's a little error here. The antenna she grabs is clearly white with a black tip. And then when she puts it back in, straightened, if you'll notice, it is actually all black and thinner.
Me too. Big secret.
And then in that scene again, it's white again and thicker. So that's something I noticed the first viewing and I thought I was crazy. Saw it the second viewing and thought, maybe I'm just misseeing it. But now that I've actually had a chance to rewind this and watch it once or twice just to make sure, yeah, it's definitely an error and it's kind of a glaring one. So, boo. This interrogation technique by using the Force, I don't know whether he's influencing the neurons in the brain or crushing the brain or causing pain or some kind, I don't understand, but it looks very A, effective, and B, scary as hell. I wouldn't want to be tortured this way. I wouldn't be tortured anyway, I guess, but he could have killed him, I'm sure.
Well then.
Hux, I can't take Hux seriously. He looks like a high school bully.
Don't give up hope.
I'm sorry, he just seems too young to be menacing. We need more of a Grand Moff Tarkin, somebody that's older. In my opinion. I have been wrong on occasion.
For my family.
This is a rescue. I'm helping you escape.
I love this scene.
You're with the Resistance? What? No, I'm breaking you out. Can you fly a TIE fighter?
I can fly anything. Why? Why are you helping me?
Because it's the right thing to do.
Because it's the right thing to do.
You need a pilot, don't
You
you?
need a pilot.
I need a pilot.
The humor in this movie is spot on. I absolutely love it. I think it's perfectly placed. Good job, JJ, I gotta say.
Okay. Stay calm.
And Poe is one of my favorite characters. He's hardly in this movie, but I really, really, really like him. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him in the future. And the new TIE Fighters are sick. I think they're amazing. And I love the two-person configuration.
Okay, same principle.
But yeah, Poe is awesome. Absolutely love Poe. And of course they grabbed the one TIE Fighter that's refueling or locked down. I mean, I'm sure they're probably all locked down, but I just find it ironic that it would have been so much easier had it not been tethered. Maybe they're all tethered, I don't know. And I heard too that in the original draft, Poe was supposed to die in this movie. But they changed their mind and they made him survive, which was awesome. So I think that's actually the special features on this one. I haven't really watched those yet, but apparently he was originally supposed to die in the original script.
That's the only name they ever gave me. Well, I ain't using it. That's Finn, huh? Finn, I'm gonna call you Finn, is that alright? Finn. Yeah. Finn, I like that. I like that. I'm Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron.
Good to meet you too, Finn.
And is it just me, or do these ventral cannons look a lot like the guns on the Vengeance from Star Trek Into Darkness? Same kind of turret-mounted thing. This was also like the first scenes that he filmed. So they were in the desert. It was hot, and he was wearing a stormtrooper outfit. Brutal, man. Sometimes being an actor kind of sucks. And on the back of the stormtrooper armor, there is a little canister, as you see here. This was originally done by Ralph McQuarrie and his concept art for the original Star Wars. All of the stormtroopers were originally supposed to carry laser swords, as Luke Skywalker, or as George Lucas called them. So that's where the hilt of the laser sword was supposed to go. That then changed, and only Jedi and Sith had lightsabers. But that pouch, that little canister on the back of the stormtrooper armor, is a carryover from that original concept. And I gotta be honest, this is one of the worst things you can do when somebody is looking for you and you're in the desert, to leave a trail of clothes in the direction you're going. At least walk a different direction, leave a trail of clothes, and then try to cover your tracks and go back another direction, something like that. But to leave a trail of armor and clothes from your crash site to the direction you're going isn't the brightest idea. Just saying.
My methods.
You're obviously skilled at committing high treason. Perhaps Leader Snoke should consider using a cloned army.
See, I love this scene because ever since the prequels came out, everybody was complaining that stormtroopers, you know, are all clones. So it doesn't make sense that, you know, they look different or whatever, or they're different heights. Like, you didn't... When I originally watched the original trilogy, it was clear that the Empire drafted people, or, you know, joined the Empire, you know, stop the rebels. It was a recruitment thing. But the Clone Wars, everybody saw that, go, oh, all the stormtroopers are clones. It makes no sense that blah, 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 blah. No, it doesn't. They're originally clones, yes. The clones die, they get old. You need to redo your army. The best way to do that is recruitment, especially if you want to put on the face that you're the good guys. So join our cause, enlist in the Empire, things like that. So I'm glad that that scene's included in this movie, because that's one of my pet peeves that people just don't seem to understand. Not all stormtroopers are clones. This aerial bombardment by TIE fighters is awesome, and I always wondered about BB-8, whether it would be practical to have that ball shape. I tell you something right now, R2-D2 couldn't move this fast on sand, so this thing is a great design to be able to roll that fast on, especially on a sandy surface. The stairs kind of confused me, but we'll get into the stairs a little bit later. So the scene coming up here, will they run by? If we go back there for a second, you're going to see the Millennium Falcon before they actually unveil it. So it's almost like it's right there. It's almost like a subconscious thing, because as soon as she said, no, that's a piece of junk, I thought in the theater, I bet you that's the Falcon. Sure enough, it was. Garbage. I thought this was the Falcon. Yep.
The garbage will do.
Awesome. This gave me goosebumps, give me chills, still does. This is one of the, coming up, this chase scene with the Falcon where it's like drifting, and is one of the best Star Wars scenes ever filmed. Ever filmed. From any of the movies. I do have a problem with this, though.
This ship hasn't flown in years.
The ship hasn't flown in years, yet she can get it up and going and performing like it does. I've got a Camaro out in the driveway that hasn't driven in years. Trust me, if I needed to get out of here in a hurry, this wouldn't happen. And ouch! Falcon sure does take a shit kicking in this movie. Yeah, sorry if the color's kind of washed out. It's the best I can do with the bright lights and the camera.
I'm going low!
But yeah, this whole scene is just incredible. And I figure we might as well watch it because why not? It's awesome, right?
Are you ever going to fly back?
I'm working on it. Are the shields up?
No, something's without a co-pilot.
Try sitting in this thing. We need cover, quick!
We're about to get some.
And this goes back to what I said earlier in one of my other reviews. With only 2 people on that ship, who fires the guns? Because if you need a co-pilot for certain things, are the guns, can they be controlled? That's cool too. Can the guns be controlled from the cockpit? I don't think so. At least not the main guns. Kind of a flawed design. It's like you need a crew of at least 4 or 5 people on that ship at all times. But
Come on!
Let's go.
I'm getting pretty good at this.
Nothing
yeah.
The cannon's stuck in forward position. I can't move it. You're gonna lose him.
Get ready.
Okay. For what?
This is so intensely cool. I love it. I love it.
Are we really doing this?
For a ship that hasn't flown in years, wow. Handles pretty well. This scene here. And there was a scene back there where the Falcon's like turning. What is that? Like a new movie called Jakku Drift? You know, because this thing's drifting along the sand. Awesome, awesome. I absolutely love that scene. Amazing.
I've run some ships, but I've never left the planet. You're not.
This scene in theaters in 3D was incredible. It's like the Star Destroyer's nose was like right out into the theater. I really need to get this in 3D when it comes out. Gotta say. This scene here bothers me. Like, I'm not a huge fan of Kylo Ren. I think he's a whiny little rat. People say he's the most dynamic and amazing villain in, you know, Star Wars history. I disagree. He may be dynamic. He may have some interesting aspects. But he's a whiny little 3-year-old. Whiny little 3-year-old that didn't get his drink box. So he throws a fit. I absolutely hate that. This whole scene made me hate him. Because, sure, he's dangerous and unpredictable if you piss him off. So was Vader. He would just calmly force choke you. But this guy doesn't scare me like Darth Vader did.
It's the motivator. Grab me a Harris.
I love this back and forth with him and BB-8.
The resistance, okay? I'm just trying to get away from the First Order. But you tell us where the base is, I'll get you there first. Deal? Join, please.
Pilots, driver, hurry. So where's your base?
On BB-8, tell him.
The Ilenium
Yes,
system.
the Millennium System, that's the one. Get us there as fast as you can.
I'll drop you to a Panina terminal. I need the bonding tech, hurry.
What about you?
I've got to get back to Giles. All controls are overridden.
This scene kind of bothered me too because it's kind of very convenient that they happen to be in the same vicinity with each other for them to be able to find the Falcon after looking for it for years, apparently. Maybe once it powered up, some kind of homing beacon on board came on. I guess, maybe. But the amount of convenience for this to happen, my suspension of disbelief only goes so far. And I know it's a science fiction movie, and people are going to, it's my opinion, people are going to still bitch at me in the comments going, you reamed on everything. Sorry guys, it's my opinion. It's just my thoughts on the movie as I'm watching it. That's why you watch these, I hope. So, convenient. And who didn't get chills when they saw this? This is absolutely amazing.
We're home.
This is a ship that made the Kessel Run in 14 parsecs.
12!
I love it. I love it. This is an awesome scene when he just gets back in the cockpit and he's like, I'm home. I love Han Solo. Harrison Ford's great. But Harrison Ford doesn't have a real appreciation for the role that made him famous. That kind of bothers me a little bit. But he did agree to do it, and it's amazing. Han Solo looks almost identical to my dad. He reminds me of my dad. It's creepy weird, but that's almost exactly what my dad looks like. So, even when he was younger as Indiana Jones.
Are the Han Solo that fought with the rebellion?
So I don't know. It's going to be hard for me to watch these movies after my dad passes away. Knock on wood, that'll never happen. But, yeah. I know.
I spent that money.
Kanja Club wants their investment back too.
I never made a deal with Kanja Club.
Doesn't Kanja Club sound like a 1980s punk band or something? Kanja Club.
You okay?
You can't tell me in all the years they've been together he hasn't once used the bowcaster. There's a real missed opportunity here when he's messing with these switches. He should have had to bang it like he did in The Empire Strikes Back. I think that would have been hilarious. You know, flick, flick, flick. Bang. I think it would have been amazing. That's a missed opportunity for sure.
From inside the hangar, is that even possible?
I never asked that question until after I've done it.
Remember seeing Snoke for the first time and going, is he really that big? And then it's like, oh no, he's a hologram. He's probably projecting himself larger to appear more menacing. So many theories about who he is. I don't want to say anything. Is it Plagueis? Who knows? There's theories it's Darth Vader. There's theories it's Kylo Ren because he gets the scar later.
We shall destroy the government that supports the resistance.
We'll find out. We'll find out. Stay tuned.
Friends to protect them, the resistance will be vulnerable.
When I found out that Han Solo was his father, I just shook my head and went, oh my god, I can't believe this. And the scene with the game, that's exactly where the other game left off from A New Hope. So I guess they didn't have time to play it in all these years, but that's a really cool, interesting little Easter egg, which I really appreciate.
What you started.
Creepy. I hope they explain how or when he goes back to get the Darth Vader armor and all that. I really want that explained. Same with the lightsaber later. There was a hand with that. Did you bring the hand? Another thing I was kind of disappointed by it is I know for a fact there are more deleted scenes that are on this disc. Hopefully they come out with those, maybe in the 3D version. But there's like 4 minutes of deleted scenes included with this one. And I know for a fact there are scenes that were cut out that are not on this release. So that kind of bugs me. There's a scene coming up here actually where it was cut out. And I've seen the little snippets of it, but I was disappointed to find out it wasn't actually on this release. So hopefully with the 3D release. It's really kind of cool how BB-8 goes downstairs. Makes more sense how R2 goes downstairs. But before I even saw the movie, I wondered, could BB-8 actually do that? And in the movie, it, of course, shows me that he can, which is neat. That must be mass shifting, so that when he falls, he shifts, the interior weight of the ball shifts backwards. This is real-world tech. I mean, well, in-universe tech. Real-world tech, there was a bunch of different ways they manipulated BB-8. But just a very cool little feature. I really like Maz. I hope we see more of her in some of the other movies. She's kind of the Yoda figure. I don't know if she will be in the other movies, but I'm kind of hoping we see a little bit more of her. I really think she's a great character.
We'll bring an end to the Senate.
Those hats are ridiculous.
All remaining
I'm sorry,
citizens
but
will bow to the First Order, and we'll remember this
they just look
as
silly.
the last day of the Republic.
You may fire when ready. So, here we go with a very JJ problem. Where to start? Starkiller Base requires the energy of a sun to make it fire its weapon. Understandable. It's a pretty powerful weapon. It's built... It's a planet, essentially. So how do they move this planet without ionizing the atmosphere? How long does it take to get from system to system or sun to sun to reload? Is this the first firing? This is supposed to be another system that they're looking at, yet they can see it from this planet. It's much like JJ's Star Trek, where you can transport from Earth to Kronos or the Klingon planet homeworld in, like, you can transport there, or you can fly there in a day. He has no sense of scale on anything. Pretty big place. This is supposed to be a different system, yet they can see it from the planet that they're on. And then Starkiller Base has to move into position of another sun, which they didn't use this one, obviously, because there's still a sun in the sky. They have to move in position to suck up the energy of another sun, or they'll probably do this one. That makes perfect sense. But how do you move a planet that big? Why did they go this route for this new Death Star thing? A lot of problems there for me. A lot of technical aspects that people have talked about online. It just doesn't make sense to have a planet that is essentially a weapon that needs a sun to power itself. So look into all that. Trust me, it just doesn't make any sense as per JJ's storytelling. He did it with Star Trek. He screwed so much stuff up in that, technology-wise, common sense-wise, physics-wise. Why not Star Wars? It's a little more believable in Star Wars because it's not as far-fetched as what Star Trek is, because Star Trek is more based in scientific reality and fact than fantasy or fiction. So, but still, there's a lot of issues with this whole situation. But I know, turn your brain off, watch it, enjoy it. It's entertaining. It is that. So.
Those beasts, they're here.
The new shuttles that don't have the main vertical stabilizers kind of bother me. I don't like the look of them. I much prefer the ones from Return of the Jedi with the 3 points, the tail fin and the 2 wings. The new one I don't like. Okay, this scene coming up on fires, then fires at a stormtrooper without looking. Right here. Goes back to the theory that people have been saying that he might be force sensitive. All his luck in the previous movies might actually be involving the force. That kind of reinforces it, in my opinion. maybe he is mildly like force sensitive and can use the force without even realizing it. And here too, he borrows the bowcaster.
I like this thing.
You honestly can't tell me that in all the years they've been working together that he hasn't needed to fire that bowcaster before. It's like the first time second time he's used it now in this movie. Traitor. This fight's just awesome. We need more of this guy. This should have been Captain Phasma. And she could have got blasted, but her armor protected her. Because honestly, her role in this movie is very minimal and needed to be expanded on.
It's the resistance.
Oh yeah. It's about to get real. Like I said, the new X-Wing's not my favorite. But the paint scheme's amazing. The black paint with the orange striping. But when they go into attack formation, I don't like that the intakes split into a semicircle. I prefer the fully rounded intake nozzles of the original X-Wing. Just my personal opinion, but that's why you're watching this after all. And there's a really incredible scene coming up right here where Poe takes out like 9 guys. I don't know if you can see too well with the way the camera's washing everything out, but
One hell of a pilot!
So here we see C-3PO and Leia, of course, but C-3PO has a red arm, which JJ said he did that to make it visually different, that there's a history here that, you know, C-3PO's been through a lot. Apparently it gets explained in one of the comics what happened to his arm and needed a red replacement for now.
Look how it is. Did you see who?
I think it's just a reason to sell more toys. I mean,
Excuse me, General.
what do you think?
Come on, BB-8, quickly. Yes, I must get my
Fast.
and I will do everything I can.
And speaking of the humor that I love so much in this movie, the scene coming up, this one is amazing.
That sounds very scary. You must be so brave.
Yep, I am.
General,
I love it.
regret to inform you, but this map recovered from BB-8 is only partially complete.
Yes, please, more R2-D2. R2 is the best Star Wars character ever. Matter of fact, the Star Wars stories, I think, are about R2-D2. He's in every one of them. He's always the hero. He always saves the day. We needed more R2-D2 in this one. Hopefully the next few he's going to be a lot more prominent in. But anyway, I was kind of disappointed about that. So going back to what I said earlier about Han Solo or Harrison Ford looking a lot like my father, does that make me Kylo Ren, the character that I can't stand?
On the enemy base is coming.
Where am I?
So if you recall, a few minutes ago, Kylo Ren's shuttle took off with her on board, and like a minute after that, the Rebel carrier came in with C-3PO and Leia on it.
You'll be relieved to hear I have no idea.
Now they're saying they have no idea where the Rebels are. So they had TIE fighters and Star Destroyers in orbit of the planet. The Rebels arrived just right after they left, and nobody tracked the Rebel ships because they would have both been in orbit. Like, see, certain things just don't make sense. And, yeah. The ashes are interesting. Are those Vader's ashes? Is that what gives... Does it sustain his force, his evilness? I don't know. I don't know.
He's a BB.
Don't be afraid.
I love how she resists him without even realizing that she can do it. A lot of people complain about that, you know, she's too strong in the force. But if it's an innate ability and she's that strong in it, it would make sense that it would almost be raw unbridled force power that she can wield. Yes, it's not, she wasn't trained in it, but it's not refined either. It's very much like somebody that's really strong, just having brute strength, but no kind of subtlety about how to use it. So I don't have a problem with the whole she can use the force without being trained. I thought this was hilarious in the theater. I actually got kind of a chuckle out of it that she's resisting him. So I don't have a problem with that, personally.
Droid has most likely been returned to the hands of the
Okay, this makes sense then. Going back to what I said earlier about them not knowing where the rebels are.
We have their location. We tracked their reconnaissance ship to the Elenium system.
So they did track them after they left the planet. That makes sense. I like that. So nix what I said earlier.
You will remove these restraints.
And I'm sure everybody knows this by now, but I'm going to share it with you anyway, because that's what I do. This stormtrooper is Daniel Craig, James Bond. I didn't know that till like after the second time I had seen the movie, and I thought it was hilarious. Interesting cameo without actually having a cameo.
I'll tighten those restraints. Scavenge his skull. I will remove these restraints and leave the cell with the door open.
I laughed so hard when I first heard that. And this part.
And you drop your weapon?
And I'll drop my weapon.
I'm just gonna go take a day off, have some lunch. I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. And this scene here is hilarious too, where he throws his little hissy fit, which is what it is. Can't take this guy seriously. I really can't. And the stormtroopers are like, yeah, no, we're out. Because we don't get paid enough for this shit. I absolutely love this scene.
Get any higher and they'll see us!
Boom. Ouch, though. Ouch. Ouch. I like the Falcon too much to see this. Again, you can't really see it because it's all washed out on the screen there. So I apologize, but it's one thing I hate about recording with
She was not found in Hangar 718, but all troops are on alert.
my phone.
Every hangar on lockdown. She's going to try to steal a ship to a city.
Such underusage of Phasma.
2187. Not anymore. That means Finn. I'm in charge. I'm in charge now, Phasma. I'm in charge. Bring it down.
Bring it down, kid. Bring it down.
Follow me.
And the fact that she buckles so easily, just they needed to do something different with her in this movie. Hopefully, she redeems herself in the upcoming movies. This scene here, when the door opens, you can see a snowspeeder type vehicle behind them. There's actually a deleted scene on this DVD Blu-ray, which is an unfinished special effects scene, but they're being chased on a snowspeeder and they're shooting the people behind them. Should have been left in, I think. I didn't even notice the snowspeeder until I saw the deleted scene, so it's interesting the way it all ties together. So really, I'd like to see an uncut director's version of this movie. I think that would be phenomenal. I don't know if we'll ever do it, but
I'll go down below.
something I'd be interested in seeing for sure.
We'll meet back here. I miss you.
Speaking of missed opportunities, there's one here, which would have been beautiful. Han should say, "I love you, son."
I'm being torn apart.
And as Kylo Ren stabs him,
I want to be free.
he should have said, "I know." Much like Empire Strikes Back.
I know what I have to do.
I love you.
don't know if I have the strength to
I know. I think that would have been perfect here. And that was a real missed opportunity.
Yes.
But nothing we can do about it now. Except for think of what could have been. Love how it's symbolic that the sun's gone dark now. So the dark side comes out in him. Really well done, but really missed opportunity. Should have been, son, I love you. I know. And then have him fall off. Or even here after he's stabbed. I love you. I know. And the scene where Chewie shoots Kylo would have been very hard for Chewie. Chewie's like Uncle Chewie. He watched Ben grow up. He was there for him. He changed his diaper, probably played with him. So it was really hard for him to shoot him. So it's understandable he didn't kill him. But I don't know. I really think that Han and Chewie should have died together. I know that Peter Mayhew's really getting on in years and having trouble walking and whatnot. So I thought if they were going to kill off anybody originally, it would have been Chewbacca, not Han Solo, or at least both of them together. I think would have been very apropos. But to keep Chewie alive is an interesting choice, and I don't... It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I don't want somebody dying in every one of these movies coming up. Like, that would kind of suck. So I kind of expected that going into this, that they would both die together, and I think that would probably be the way to go.
We're not done yet.
We're not done yet. This scene would have been interesting if Luke had come back to do that. Awesome. My Blu-ray clicky thing isn't working. Not Blu-ray, Bluetooth. And finally, R2 powers back up. So, thumbs up. Happy about that. But really needed more of him in the movie.
You found what?
Not a lot of people will agree with me on that, but
Find Master Luke.
I love R2-D2. Always have, ever since I was a kid.
We must go tell the others at once.
And of course, R2 again saves the day.
General.
Another thing you'll notice here, C-3PO has his gold arm back. He finally got the fix he needed. I also love that it's Chewie and Rey and R2 that go to see Luke. R2's going to see his old buddy, so hopefully he'll be more involved in the next movie. Don't want to harp on R2-D2, but he's just so awesome. And there's another missed opportunity coming up in just a second. Interestingly enough, this here looks like a little tombstone that he's standing in front of. So, is Rey his kid? Is that her mother's tombstone? But the part that really bugs me, the part that was a missed opportunity in my opinion, is coming up in just a second. When she holds out the lightsaber to him, which she's going to do right now, the lightsaber really should have floated towards Luke. And that should have been where it ended. This whole her standing there with it, and then the wide shot and stuff. Right here, it should have left her hand and slowly floated towards Luke. And then it should have cut to the credits. In my opinion. This is probably the easiest money that Mark Hamill has ever made. I don't know how much he got paid, but... So, in my honest opinion, an excellent Star Wars movie. It does have a few flaws and a few problems, and that's alright. But I would have to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Normally, I would have given a 9.5 or a 9 out of 10, but there were quite a few missed opportunities. 3 that I can think of right offhand. Han Solo fiddling with the Falcon. He should have had to smack it at least once. The whole, says to his son, "I love you," and then he stabs him, "I know." And then that last part where the lightsaber should have floated towards Rey, and then got this fade to the credits, or jump to the credits, I guess. All in all, an excellent Star Wars movie. I really don't have a problem with it being kind of a rehash of A New Hope. It kind of got us back more into the Star Trek mood and mode so that we can move forward from here. JJ, I think, did a good job. That's hard for me to say. I'm not a huge JJ fan, but I think he did a great job on this movie. Like I said, there were a few things that could have been handled a little bit differently. And with the release of the Blu-ray, we need the 3D. Why wait till the fall to do that? It's just a money grab, guys. And not all the deleted scenes are included, which kind of is annoying, especially when you know what some of the deleted scenes look like, because they've been in the early trailers for the movie, and they've kind of been, you've seen scenes of them over the last year or so. Other than that, a great movie. So 8.5 out of 10. More Phasma, please. She shouldn't be such a pushover and be thrown in a trash compactor. So that's got to be improved. And more R2-D2 in the next one. Other than that, that's it for me, guys. This is Captain Foley signing off. May the Force be with you. Bye, everybody.